Cool. Luke, John, you got anything?
No, we're good.
Right on. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Welcome to Social Kick. I'm Brian Lundquist. We got the full crew: Dr. John Mullen, Luke Paddington, and the man, Santo Condorelli. What's up, buddy? How are you?
What's up, guys?
Man, a man of many countries. We always ask our audience at Social Kick Swim on Instagram for questions for our guests. Shout out there if you want to ask any questions. But so we got a few for you, of course. Let's start off with what's your absolute least favorite set? If this set was on the board, what's gonna make you like get out of the pool and cry? That's from Ella Wyden 29.
Get out of the pool and cry. I mean, I don't think I've had one of those sets in a long time, especially as we're getting older and like the whole way to train isn't like what it used to be. But I remember, at Bowls when I was in high school, Sergio gave us a set. It was like 10 400s. One was free, one was IM. And I was just like, oh, it was definitely a punishment set, I think, because we were all just, messing around, not paying attention, not doing what we're supposed to do. But anything like that, anything over 200, especially now, I'm like, if it's at warm-up pace, we're okay. But if we're doing anything above threshold, I'm okay. I'll hang out.
Yeah. Well, we did have a lot of questions about training volumes, sets that you do. Julian Koch, Caleb Eastman asking questions about training. Like, what is the typical like training volume week for you? Obviously, maybe not during a race season, but just like in season.
Shoot, I'd be surprised if we push 1,500 a day.
Nice.
Maybe 18 on some days, depending on if we're kind of swimming out a little bit more after a meet. And it's a tricky thing, especially when it gets down to even like meet days. Because sometimes during meets, I might swim more than I do when I'm doing a practice, just to like help flush my system so much.
Sure.
Especially after like a high intensity race. Like and I'm not doing 100 right now, but if you're doing like 100 all out in a race mentality, in the mind and everything, that lactates in your body for a solid amount of time. And it's not just doing 650s to get that out. You're in the water. So, but on average, 15 to like 1,800, maybe $2,000.
Can you sustain and like properly prepare for a 100 freestyle race at that volume, do you think? Or is
I
that
would say
mostly 50 volume? Okay.
That's definitely 50 volume. If I'm going to do the 100, I'm going to have to put in a little bit of work for sure. A lot more back end, a lot more full.
Yeah, for sure. All right, our pal Neophyto Shara wants to know, in a SmackDown, who wins, you or Dylan Carter?
In what sense? In a fight?
I don't know. Maybe a SmackDown makes me think WWE, but whatever you guys want to do.
His ass.
Maybe it's like maybe it's power slap.
No, just messing around, but no. Dylan's fucking. Oh, excuse my language. I don't know how you guys.
Oh, you're good. I introduced our guest yesterday with an F-bomb, so. Okay, this same dude actually asked you this question about was your 2016 Rio final strategy influenced at all by Morozov's 2013 100 free? So I think you went out in 22.2.
Correct.
And somehow held on to it for I have no fucking idea how you did
around
that,
85, and then it just hit me like I relive that race in my head every day.
Man.
No, there was no strategy at all. It was just I finally made it there, so it didn't really matter what happened. Like leading into Rio, there was no expectations for me. I think the year before, I kind of like had my breakout swim at Pan Am's, and I finally went 47 for the first time. Before that, I was like 48.9 or something, and I had no expectations. I just kind of wanted to go and experience the Olympics. And then it became like, okay, I have a shot. Like, okay, I'm in the hunt. And then I was there at finals, and I was pure adrenaline, pure excitement. Like, here, doesn't really matter. Dove in and just started getting after it and felt that kind of wave of like, okay, this is feeling good. I'm just going to go with it. And took it for 85, 87 meters. And then it hit me. But that's how there was no strategy at all. Just kind of just go for it.
Dude, I love it. 22-2 to the feet, and you're just kind of feeling it out to see where it goes.
Exactly. I keep remembering it was the easiest 22-2 I've ever had. Because at the time, I think my best 50 free was 21.9 or 21.89.
Wow.
That was like the same thing. But funny how that works. All the mind.
Yeah. When you got easy speed, you have to use it. That's the thing. Like there's people who have watched have that sort of easy speed throughout my career, and just like watching Anthony Urban, he's got easy speed that just rolls, and you got to let it go. Cullen Jones is a similar way. Cesar Cielo, Fred Biscay, especially the same way. It's like you're doing more harm than good to hold back. Like you gotta let it fly, and then you're gonna have to deal with the pain. But it's just some people are built to like let the momentum start and then try to hold on to it versus try to build into it. It doesn't always work the opposite way. So, well, cool, man. Well, hey, look, dude, congrats.
Thank you very
US
much.
team.
Appreciate it.
Getting your hand on the wall for second in the 50 free with 21.6 and on the US Worlds team. I know it's been something you wanted to do for a long time, and
for sure.
How you feeling about that whole situation?
To be honest, I thought I was going to be more excited than I was. Obviously, you guys know about everything in my life and stuff. Yeah. So when I touched, there was a quick wave of excitement, but then it was also met with a side of like, it was kind of like, I wish you could celebrate it with my old man, at the same time. It was kind of like our goal and stuff like that, because it's not just me, in the water, right? You guys all understand that it takes a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of support to get there. But for me, most of my life, the person I've always celebrated that with was my old man. Yeah. So it's like bittersweet. Definitely very happy, very excited, nonetheless, and it's like the next step to get to for the ultimate goal, right? Go to Worlds, go to the Olympics and all that. I'm headed in the right direction. I know I'm not crazy. I know I still got it in me, and I'm following the path. So that's all good. And it's I would say it's more confirming than it is like exciting yet. It's more like validation, self-validation and things like that.
Yeah.
I would say that race is.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, man, we've been working on getting this pod for about a year, and unfortunately, as Santo brought up there, his father passed away, and about reading about you more, it was more encapsulating about such a why and how he was such a huge figure for you. Yeah. So you mentioned having that excitement with making the team, but then thinking about him, what's something that you would do with him, or that he would do with you at the meet, or that you missed there
like that?
Yeah, sure.
You guys all know about the finger and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
There definitely be something like that, and then but no, we usually the best is at the end of the meet we always finish up at a steakhouse. We're always having a drink together, and it's either we're drinking in celebration or we're drinking in reflection, or like having a meal and just kind of going over everything like that, and just kind of decompressing, moving on, telling each other we love each other. We're doing good stuff. Doesn't worry about anybody else. Because I usually come out of a meet either very much in my head or not in my head at all. Don't know what they do. And then my dad's always been the person to kind of guide me in the right direction and like kind of rehome my focus and kind of not worry about life, not be so serious about things if I am.
What kind of steak and what are you drinking, by the way?
Usually having a ribeye with a glass of vodka. Pretty simple, She grew up this thing called the Sky Vodka, a blue bottle. So it was always just like a glass of vodka on the rocks.
Keeping it lean. That's how you stay lean at 1,800 yards.
Yep. Low-cal.
Obviously, though, as I get older, I realize that kind of lifestyle's not the same. So it's a little bit more few and far between. Yeah. Unfortunately or fortunately, depends on how you look at it and where you are in your life.
You're an old man now.
Right? It's crazy to think that it was because being all over, traveling wise, me being 30 overseas, not really a big deal. me be 28, 29, like you don't feel old, you know, on the circuit. My first meet back in Florida, I was like, Dylan and I were like talking to each other, looking at each other. All the kids are either high school or like their first year in college. And I was like, I was contemplating my entire like career, like, am I doing the right thing right now?
It's a kid's
I was
game
like,
now, yeah.
you know, it's like, especially in the States, I think because there's so much talent and it's so deep, and it's, I guess the way to train and stuff is all like school oriented. Yeah. You know, there's no real like pro situation.
Right.
Where you got like some sort of support on the outside. But the depth and all that is all at the young age. And so I totally get it when people are just like, you're 30, you're old. And it's like, you're not wrong, but it's a different concept over here than it is overseas for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but Santo, that's a segue to my question, dude. So, you know, I was born in Trinidad.
Trinidad, love it.
Right? And so I'm in Canada a lot.
All right.
European called out, just like you. British passport. Right? Boom.
Got a regular Jason Bourne here. Luke's holding up 4 passports.
This US
No
passport.
kidding, jeez.
Right? There's no way, as I got older, I would consider swimming for a tough country of Canada or Europe, or definitely not the US, the freaking hardest country to qualify to make a team for. And as you get older, you tend to go back to the easier one, to be quite frank. Right?
Yeah.
You decided at age 30 to go the hardest event in swimming, the hardest freaking country, the most depth, and to do it and do a PB. That journey doesn't happen. People normally go back, and if they're the US, they swim for Brazil if they couldn't make the US team, or you know what I mean? But you went the other way. Explain that rationale, the dream of representing the US, and just to make the hardest team I think there is to make is the US swim team.
For sure. I mean, there's probably a lot to that.
Yeah.
Especially like towards the end and how I got here like the last couple months. You know, I started my journey, and it all kind of develops with confidence as you keep going on. Start off my journey, like going to Canada was straight just to go to the Olympics.
Right.
There was no concern about medaling, being international, not like I want to experience the Olympics. So that's insta sport of swimming. That is the pinnacle of it, right? Yeah. You don't get much higher than that. And so that was that. And then after that, I had another opportunity to go swim for Italy. Great situation, you know. Took care of everything. I got another EU passport out of it. Yeah. Got a whole other set of friends, you know. Exactly, you know. And it's just like that journey hasn't necessarily been try to make the hardest team until I think maybe a year or so ago. When I kind of got stiffed. There's a whole backstory to a lot of it, you know, and a lot of politics involved and everything. But I think me going to the US now is more of like, yes, it is the hardest. And 2, why else would you want to do anything like that's not hard? Boom. You know, it's like you have a chance to do this and be the one of the 1%. Yeah. The only kid that's going to do this, the only one that's going to make the hardest team. And then let's say, I'm going to put this out there. I win, like ending my career on that.
Yeah.
That's the dream, right? Yeah. If that happens or doesn't happen, we don't know. Yeah. But the dream is shoot for the fucking stars. Yeah. You know? And whatever else happens, I've gotten so much else behind it. Like, I'm still okay. You know? I have those 3 passports. You beat me by 1. Good for you.
That's all right.
I'm a little jealous.
He's a little older than you.
Yeah. We can give you Trinidad. You know, whenever you're ready.
Luke's got a master's relay for you coming up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When Dylan retires, we have to drop it.
Yeah, no, but it's just like, I don't think life gives you so many opportunities where you can achieve something like this, right? Yeah. So if it does present itself, I think it would be a disservice to, I don't know, one's life or yourself or your family or anybody else that's kind of helped you along the way not to. Yeah. You know, like I mean, sure, I can get the easy way out, but I could also just quit and do something else in my life. That's how I'm thinking about it, I guess.
Are you kind of a one step at a time guy then? Because
Yes.
you're talking about the potential into the career, which I mean, you could objectively look at this and say you just won a PB, great result. Why slow down? You got a new exciting opportunity here, but do you not think about like what comes after this Worlds? Is it pretty much all just okay, we're focused on one thing, and then that decision after that will come when that set of circumstances arrives on my plate?
100%. So let's take this back. Like let's say we're at trials. I eat shit. I go 22.5.
Mm-hmm.
My whole outlook in the career path or like what I'm doing is very drastically changed, and like how serious I am, and like because it's just priorities change. That's how you kind of go through things.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this time 21.6, perfect, doing the right thing, going in the right direction. That's done with. What's the next goal? Next goal is Worlds. How do I get from 22.6 21.3? Like, how do I get myself on the podium? How do I get myself to finals? That's like my next set of goals. After that, go back to the drawing table. What's the next thing? Because I think there's too much going on in your life to think and control 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I have this goal and where I want to go, I think, but you have 5 years. I could be this, tomorrow something else in my life can happen. And I just say, you know what? I'm going to go this way instead.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the cool thing about the life that we have. You could pick up your stuff tomorrow if you want to and just, let's do this, Obviously, not everybody has the same kind of mindset, I think, as I do when it comes to that. Some people are very like stuck in like a routine and like this is what you do. Luckily, I can thank my parents for living a very extravagant lifestyle, like always running around. Like my mother grew up, I think when she was 15, 16, she started running around all over the country. I think that's probably where I get my sense of flight from that sense, but I know I've just kind of always lived that kind of lifestyle. I don't think there's not necessarily, you don't need to stay if you don't want to.
Yeah. I can relate.
So was that 21?
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. I was going to ask, was 21.6 that the goal at that time?
Yeah, I've definitely had to be a best time. And I had a number in my head, like going up through training, like it can be around 21.6. And definitely. Nice. And it was crazy because it was only within the last 2-3 weeks that I got there. Because like I think I did meet in Grand Challenge and it was 22.3, 22.2, and it was god awful. I was just like, oh God, how are we gonna get this? But I ran into Sean over in Fast, in ASP, and working with him, my just cortisol levels have dropped. I don't really worry. I'm there every day. Everything's going in the right direction. It's like, and I have this new mindset is if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, my life's not over.
Yeah.
And I think that goes over to like the things we were saying earlier. That's cool. It's cool. We go 21.6. It's good. We're celebrating. Go 22.5. And it's all right. Let's go figure something else out.
Still vodka at the end. Still vodka at the end.
I've had that trials 22 moment where it's like I ate shit in the 50 and I went, okay, I guess I got to go do something else now. So, that's my life story. Go ahead, Luke.
No, I was going to ask about that. You being Olympic finals, NCAA finals, you've done it all. U.S. nationals was just how your experience at those other big meets helped you control that attitude, just to be chilled and relaxed, sort of like, or did you still face, the back to the wall, the art of war, sort of like, I still got to like attack and fight? Do you still have that sort of thing? How did it feel walking onto the block at the final of US Nationals, even though you've had 2 Olympics and etc.?
I think I said this in another interview. Like, I've never felt more relaxed or calm.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's because my old man's not around. So when my old man is around, he's a hard ass. You know, I love him, but he'd be like, "You got to do this, got to be on top." Like, always just wanting the best for me, 110%. You know, but the way he dealt with achieving things was a little different than me. So like when he wasn't there, I don't know, the way I approached my race and everything just kind of more like self-belief, not trying to get it from my dad to push me. Like, I kind of pushed myself because I wanted to do it, you know? So it's a little different kind of feeling. But then, it's like, I'm also 30. I'm swimming a bunch of kids, you know? Like, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
They're really good and they're really fast, but I think, like you said, like going through all this kind of stuff is another meet at this point. And like, hopefully, I'm not there yet, but hopefully, like, as I get into this next stage and these other bigger international competitions, I keep the same head.
Yeah.
Because I think that helped me out the most. And I was just there.
Yeah. And 30's nothing for 50 free, man. We got Cam, we got Manadoo. So you're just starting your career, in my opinion, in the 50 focus.
Exactly. And I'm feeling as though my recovery's not the same.
Sure.
But my strength is. Like, my strength, I feel, is a lot more focused, and like I'm feeling strong. But not like I probably can't get up the next morning as ready.
And you mentioned, strength. We know strength usually matures, and around the 30s is when we start peaking, and recovery's part of that. Recovery builds strength, despite what most club swimmers or club programs are thinking. You mentioned Sean and aquatic sports performance there, and him having that calming, presence, but you've only been with them a little bit. So what is it about him, or what things has, he done to help channel that?
I think the biggest thing, we have a mutual respect for each other, and he's more of a peer, but I still hold him as a coach. We have our times where he's a friend, but he knows how to navigate. You got to do this, and I give him that space to do that for me. But he also allows a line of communication where I can talk, and he's not letting an ego get in the way. Whereas most, I don't know, I might about to piss some people off, but I think most older coaches, or most coaches in general, have a big ego behind them when they come to training, and they kind of, I don't know, it's their way. You're an athlete and you're wrong, and it's constant. And I think my personality is very combative when I hear someone talk to me like that. So it doesn't really go too well. Whereas with Sean, there's an open dialogue. I don't, feel threatened, and he doesn't feel threatened when something doesn't go right or wrong. It's just, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I want to feel. Why didn't this happen? Here's a solution. Let's try this. Let's not try this. Go back to, it's constant. We're constantly going back and forth every day, every morning. We text, we hang out, there's no there's no undermining, there's none of that. So I respect the hell out of him for that. He's really, it feels like I'm involved.
Sure. And that's more the model, at least with pro athletes, obviously not swimming, but looking at other sports where it's, a collaborative effort. Okay, let's knock down the components of elite performance. Where do you think there is to improve? What can we do to do it? Right. So it's that collaboration to get there. But do you think that could be possible to with a younger Santo or in the club environment at all, or do you think the swimming world requires part of this, like you said, ego and a little firmer guidance until you do get to your 30 and you've matured to know what works for you?
For sure. It's a great point, because I'll be honest with you, like when you're a kid, you don't know shit. You know why you have parents.
Right.
Like we don't know anything. So there has to be. I'm not a coach either, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm not in their footsteps. Like I don't have to deal with parents. I don't have to deal with administration. I don't have to deal with hitting specific numbers and all that. So in like a club format situation, I couldn't give you a proper answer, I would like to seem that, but when you have 60 kids and you have 10 dickheads in the corner messing around, not doing what they're supposed to, I'm gonna go smack you. Go do your thing. But I think it does need to change when you get into a more professional level. I think when you get into a professional level, there has to be a little bit more mutual respect and understands like, hey, I've done this for 30 years. I know my body way better than you will ever know my body, and how I feel in the water. You're the coach. You give me workouts. You make sure my ass is in shape. You make sure I'm showing up. But it's on to me to do all those things and then reciprocate and tell you, hey, this is where I'm lacking. I can feel this is where it's not happening. Don't just tell me it's my mind. Right. Don't tell me I'm fucking crazy. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about, Just say, okay, let's try this. Let's reevaluate and then get back to it. Has to be a back and forth. But if you're 18 and like, God, I remember myself in college, I was a mess too. And that's 21, 20, I still didn't know what I was doing. But in this sense, this is definitely a lot more professional, more focused, more goal oriented, a little bit more streamlined. We're all on the same point. I think Shaw and I have a good spot where it's like we both know what we want to get out of this. Our goals are both in line. We both want me to succeed. I succeed, he succeeds. In that sense. And then I think sometimes when you go to these programs with other coaches that already have their accolades, who the fuck is Santo Condorelli?
Right, you're kind of buying into that.
You know what I mean?
Versus an athlete-centric program. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's very frustrating, especially when you're at 30, when you could be doing 20 other things.
Right.
Like I'm paying you guys to like help me out, and I'm the asshole when I don't get what I need. Funny how that works, right?
It's funny that transition that needs to take place. Like you don't. Sure, there are athletes who have swum into to approaching the age of 30 and have been bought into the program. And it's whatever coach says, I'm doing that plan. And we hear that sometimes. Oh, I just, whatever coach says is what we're doing right now and what I need, and it's like the athlete almost deflects. But then there's athletes, what I hear you expressing that, their expectations for that relationship are a bit different. And I think like somebody who's had the career journey that you have, doesn't surprise me at all to hear that that's kind of what you need is a collaborative environment where you also have a strong feel for what you need. And although you describe that you're not a coach, in a way, in the arc of a career, to be in the position that you're in, you kind of have to have that, like bridging that gap between the just an athlete mentality and a coach mentality to have a sense of what you need and how that manifests in like moving from 22.2 a few weeks out to 21.6 at the actual meet. And so, and I think that that's hard to know. I know that it's something I struggled with as an athlete is actually advocating for my own needs, having like gone through the season and feeling like, okay, something's missing. I think I know what I need, but the coaching athlete relationship hadn't quite gotten to the point of, me maturing enough to say like, hey coach, like I think I need more of this. And in some cases that meant for me more 200 stuff. In some cases it meant like, just finding more pop that I never found. Cause I've arrived at top meets and felt like I was ready to go for like a heavy gym session. And I didn't feel like I was standing behind the blocks ready to swim a fast 50 free, and those are two different feelings. So I think like, that's a transition that needs to take place. And I'm curious for you, what do you need? What are some of those things that maybe you've identified in the process of, a season or even preparing for the big meet in the final like taper process that that you need, that maybe sometimes it's like you got to vouch for this, and if it's missing, I gotta go get that. What are those indicators?
Well, it's very situational, right? So I think I was lifting the day before, like the morning of the 50 free. Whoa. At trials, and it wasn't a lot. I was hard. I'm not like pumping weights, but doing a couple stuff for my forearms, a little bit of abs, just a little jump just to connect. So like for me, I'm very I can feel the water. Like that's, I think, my biggest thing. And as a sprinter, it's all about your touch and your feel of the water. Yep. So like, if anybody gets anything out of this and you're a sprinter, make sure you touch the water every day. Just like, I even like Sundays, I just hop in my apartment pool and do nothing but just skull, hanging out. It's a sensory thing. You have to learn how to live in water. And it's like, you take a day or two off. It takes me 4 or 5 days to feel the water again correctly. Wow. But anyway, back to what you're saying is, it's a day-to-day thing, and I just try to find ways where I can get better from the day before. So I don't expect to be perfect ever, but I do expect from, let's say, Friday to Saturday, I've gotten a little bit better. When I get into the warm-up, I can catch a little bit more, or my lats a little bit more engaged, or my core to hip to chest is a little bit more snappy. So that's how I communicate what I'm missing to Sean. So like, I'll be like, hey, this isn't firing, this is missing, or I'm slipping here. What can I do? Or what do you have that you think might help me get that re-engaged? And he has a great background when it comes to like all the weights and everything. And, but he also swims. So he gets in, and I kind of coach him a little bit when he gets in the water, so he can understand what I'm trying to feel. Yeah, which I think is super unique from any other coach I've ever had. It was most of these guys haven't seen a Speedo in years.
Yeah, we know. Luke tried one on recently.
No disrespect, but so that's how I communicate with him. It's like, hey, this is off. What am I doing to kind of snap back in here? And then he'll give me something, but it's up to me to get there myself. He can't get me to that feeling. He can give me tools to use, and then I just go play around. Just kind of mess around like, okay, that works. That doesn't work. Let me use this. Let me use that. And it's a constant thing. Every day is always like that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Santo, going back to some swimmers who were elites in 53 around the age of 30. So 10 years ago, I worked with George Bovell. George was one of the top sprinters in the world. He was by himself training. I worked with him for a little while, but he didn't train with anybody, but he didn't need to. He just needed feedback and by himself. We spoke to Flo Manadou right before Paris. He was by himself in Paris with his best friend, kind of helping him out. Cam trained by himself. Dylan is by himself with Dexter down there. But recently, Dylan started jumping with the age groupers. You've been there, but he's now jumping the age groupers. And I'm not an elite swimmer at all. I get that. But I'm now swimming for 53, and I'm by myself, and I'm really looking forward to training with Brian in a couple of weeks in Stanford. Not to like push me, I'm pushing myself, not to give me technique as much, just to bring the fun of racing. Because as animals, that's what we are. We are sprinters. We like to race each other. We just like to like go for it. He's gonna whoop my ass. I know it. But I'm looking forward to the fun of that. Do you need that? Are you a George where you're good or you want a little bit of fun and you train and raise some kid for some reason sometimes?
I love I hate swimming. Hate it. You know, like it sucks. I am not gonna lie. It really I'm trying to put on the face. It's great. I've traveled the world, so I've got something out of it. That's the greatest part. Swimming sucks. Racing's fun. You know, that's what it's about. At the end of the day, it's just getting up on the blocks and kicking somebody's ass.
Yes.
And it's such a shame for our sport because it's been portrayed as pretty soft.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's not.
No.
We get behind the blocks and I want to kick this motherfucker's ass right next to me. You know?
Right.
That's what it's about. That's the competition. That's what we all love.
Exactly.
And I wish that could be more to light, and hopefully as the years goes on, I can bring that kind of to our sport.
Yeah.
But that's why we do it. Swimming just happens to be the thing I'm really good at.
Yeah.
So I'm going to exploit it. But the thing that I love and why I keep doing it is because you have an opportunity to win and beat somebody.
That's it.
You know, however that is, people do it in work, people do it in sales. That's the thing we enjoy as humans is being better and we all got a little ego in us, always something no one wants to lose. That's the fun stuff. Getting your ass kicked in practice, going back and forth. Hell no.
No.
Nobody wants to do that.
No.
But
come on. But every athlete's hugging with their competitors after each race, right? Come on. Where are the rivalries within the sport? I mean, we talk about growing the sport and trying to, like you said, get more eyes on it. But we're missing the biggest thing that drives sport, which is competition and rivalries, right?
100%. We're so soft. We were so swimming. It sucks because it used to be cool. I bring this up all the time. Victor Davis. You guys know Victor Davis, right?
Yeah, Luke talks about it all the time.
Spitting in lanes, kicking the chair in front of the queen, I'm not saying we got to act like that to act,
Yeah.
But there's no way everybody on deck is friends. I can tell you that right away. I know personally, I hate half the fuckers,
Yeah.
And I know it goes both ways,
Sure. Yeah.
When you're it's that's life.
Right.
I don't know why they try to blanket this sport as being so clean, shaking hands, happy, buddy. And another reason why I hated ISL, fucking everybody's team, rah. And it was just so soft. It could have been something so cool, but whatever.
There was one moment when it was refreshingly honest. I forgot somebody said something after the race, and it was one moment. I forgot, was it the backstrokers? Somebody said something, the rivalry. It was nice. But that's it. One out of 1,000.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's funny because I don't know her yet, but a swimmer that I enjoy, it's current, it's in it. Her name's Lily King.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She brings
Heard of her.
She brings
honesty and opinion. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know nothing about the girl, but I respect the hell out of her because she how she feels, she's showing it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She'll tell you, straight up. There's not a lot of that in this sport.
I agree.
Yeah. So, I don't know how the sport makes a transition too, because I lately I feel like there's so many parallels between what the PGA Tour went through with live golf and then traditional swimming now with enhanced and
I was thinking the same
you're
thing.
on one side or the other, it's the same thing. And but the PGA Tour famously with this decorum kind of attitude where there's a way of doing things, and we all wear polo shirts and we all and I remember back to the Auburn days when I had that mentality, and there were people on our team who had that mentality too, where we'd look at every Texas guy in the face until they looked away, and look at them in the eyes until they looked away. I fucking hated those guys. And now, 10 years later, if I were to run into them, I'd be it'd be a totally different sort of attitude. But it was in the thick of competition. Then we're no, you're my competition. You're my enemy. I want to beat the hell out of you.
I'll be your friend afterwards. We can get a glass of vodka afterwards if you want. But
Totally, but like, and yeah, we'd party after and all that, but like, but still, there would be for the chief competitors, there'd still be some like, I don't know, animosity, and that was just like the period that we were in, because that's the way we trained, and that's what motivated me to be able to get the best out of myself, was to look at them as an enemy, and then, but now it's interesting to talk to. I'm constantly impressed by all of the young athletes that we talk to who are in their college years, and they're I think increasingly more mature and able to speak with candor, and also with a good perspective on what they need from a professional sense, and that's all elevating as the sport goes. But you also, to me, it seems like much less of a competitive spirit in terms of like you're describing. It's like they're very chummy with everybody, and it's like ultimate respect for competition, but there's a total lack of like rivalry to me. So I don't know if that's just them putting on a professional voice when they're talking to people like us, or if that's actually like, they're if they truly have lost that spirit of, man, fuck that guy.
It's like, who wants to be friends with everybody anyway?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, what's up with the diplomacy going on here?
I know. Yeah, it's very political. Yeah.
It's like, shit.
Yeah. You're the chief diplomat, man. Look at you with all the passports.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Luke.
But I was going to say, Stanton, you defined your career. I remember, isn't it USC when you guys had the black turtlenecks?
Heck yeah, we did.
Right. So you have style. I mean, you have swag, but you have confidence in yourself too. You want to stand out and say, look, you guys rule those relays. And you had ownership and pride in that, right? And you carry that through. Talk about that, the meaning of like having that confidence and swag and then delivering on your words.
I think the confidence and swag comes after, to tell you the truth. Like, we also have the confidence, but we also don't. Like, just bring it at the fucking race.
Yeah.
But then at the end, when you do it, then it like validates everything you thought and you believed, and then it pushes you on to the next race. Now you got that behind you, and then it's like boom again. If you keep hitting that, that's why I think most of the athletes. I give a shout out to Caleb for was in Worlds when he just took off. You couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
He already won the race before he even stepped up on the block.
Yeah.
Phelps had the same type of deal. Yeah. He could not be beaten. And I think that's carries in any sport. Once you grab that momentum, hold on for dear life, because like that's the biggest motivator, right? That's what builds that confidence. That's what makes us throw on turtlenecks, because we could. We're those little underdogs at UIC. There was only 4 or 5 of us that really put it together all the time. There was nothing like, we didn't have a full slate of kids, but we knew we had a chance right here to like upset a bunch of people, and we're going to take that chance. And we did that, and we had some fun doing it as well.
No, but it reminds me of the Popov-Hall rivalry, because Popov had that swag when he walked on deck in 92 and 96. He owned it. You knew Popov was going to win, but Gary was right there. And when Gary started then doing it, then he started putting on his robe. Gary didn't put his robe in 92. He put his robe on later, once he saw he proved himself as this kid who anchored that 4x100 free relay and that crazy split he did. He put on. And then he started to punch and rope and have Brian step on his cape at trials.
Yeah, I did. I stepped on the cape accidentally.
No, you stepped on it on purpose.
No, there was definitely an alpha, and it was not me. I still want a PB. That's all right. Dude, what do you have? Having not had a conversation with you before this, you seem to have this like artistic James Dean sort of aspect about you stylistically, and I'm curious like where that comes from. Like, who are you outside of the pool?
I mean, that's a constant evolution, right? I think it's super important to express that side of yourself, like always. Swimming in school and all that, because it's very like you do this, you do this, you do this. There's no real room for any of that. And as I've gotten older, I started to express a little bit more of that artistic side that I like. And I think you know, it's fun. I enjoy it, and it's for myself, like the whole photography thing I got going on. I tried the modeling thing here and there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't do shit. But I don't know. It's a different experience, right, than what I'm used to. And I don't know. It's cool. It's cool to like art. It's cool to like kind of express that side of your head. We don't always get the chance. So if you can, I do suggest you do that, But I'm also a loner, I guess, at times. I like to be in my own little world. And so when I'm in that world, I get the chance to do all that kind of stuff. Is that going to be my life and what I end up doing? I have no fucking idea. Probably not. Will it always be in my life? Probably,
Huh. I know.
Yeah, going back to people and all good, like young athletes being, very buttoned up and all that. And I think a lot of it is people worried about being canceled or future sponsors or things like this. So how do you think about, like you said, you have modeling, you have a lot in your background. Do you think about sponsors at all, especially now with,
no, no sponsor ever come to me. Nothing, This will be a whole nother thing I'll get.
Okay, we're open a wound here. Let's do it.
There's other people and like me paying for suits and shit like that.
Yeah. Never pay for suits.
It's just like, it's like, don't get me wrong. I know I'm not this level. I don't have like all the accolades of some other people, but like I'm not a chump. Like I'm not terrible. So like shit like that. And then luckily, I've had the support of my family. The times of like real need, I know I can lean back on my parents. But it's really rough, like, hey, can you help me out here? For sure. So like all the year leading up to the Olympics, every hotel and like all the flights and everything and my suits, old man took care of, or my mom helped out, shit like that. Like I don't need that. If need be, start selling cars with my dad. Sell a couple cars here and there. Helps me out. I got a dealer's license. I got the biggest auction in California down the street from me. I go flip a car. I got a couple grand. There you go. I'm not at the point yet where I am like desperate. I don't need them to like pat my back, nor do I want them to pat my back because they're not my personality. I don't want you to give me what's 10 grand a year, for you to control how I'm going to present who I am as a person. That's fucking nothing. That's disrespectful. You're going to control me over 10 grand. Like, God, I'll go fucking work at Burger King. I'll be okay. And I can still be myself. You know what I mean? That's our sport. That's what they present, and unless you are Michael Phelps, Caleb Dressel, winning 8-9 gold medals and shit like that, good for them. That's not who I am, so I don't expect big paychecks, I'm just kind of doing it because I can, and I got no strings attached. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna do what I do, swim fast, make it on the stage. Then you have to listen to me, and I can do whatever I want still, So that's why I'm looking at it. And then hopefully at the end, if I do get sponsors, it gets sponsors for who I am as a person, not for who they're trying to make me be.
If you medal for Trinidad, we'll set you up for life, dude.
You get a statue, right, Luke? You medal for Trinidad at the Olympics. They make you a statue. That's a rule, supposedly.
No.
I think there should be some money in that transaction, though. I forget how much was it that Duya got offered by Qatar to go and train or swim for them. I'm trying to remember. That was like the first one that I remember happening way back in that era. Was like, wait, there's free agency in countries. Like,
you think it's like a weird concept, but think about any other sport. Basketball players get traded all the time. Baseball get traded in the middle of a game. They'd be getting traded. We don't have that sense of professionalism in our sport. Right. Then again, we also have no viewers. We don't have that same type of because we just haven't built it. You know, we
Well, there's
haven't
no
built
league
any-
either.
There's
Yeah.
nothing. You know,
So
there's
it's all
nothing to
based on
compete with.
international. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of how I've done my career.
Have you caught any animosity for just switching?
Of course. Of
From
course.
whom? People within those countries?
Yeah, within the countries, and then when I go to the country, like my first time stepping in on Italy, because I'm going there, I'm about to take some of their swimmers' spots.
Yeah.
You know, but this is what I hate, and this is what I think is wrong about the sport. Because I am about to come and take your spot. Make sure your swimmer is ready to stop me.
Yeah.
Don't
they can
bitch and
they can stop
complain.
you. Yeah.
Right.
Don't be a fucking pussy about it.
Yeah.
And just like complains like, he's coming over here, blah, blah, blah. Like, beat me.
Yeah.
Just race.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of the sport.
Yeah.
And the same thing when I was trying to come here to the US. A couple athletes bitched and moaned. That's why I had a harder time trying to do the Olympics last time. And it's like, dude, grow some balls and just beat me. It's very simple. You don't want me to swim? Win.
What happened last year with the timing of it? Because it sounded like, well, we were actually in Indy for trials when I remember like news announced it, and I thought I had heard you say earlier in the year. So I'll give you my take on what happened, then I wanted you to correct what's wrong about it. But it sounded like there was like a set number of days that you had to declare intentions or something like that ahead of trials. Correct. And then there was like news that broke right before trials that you weren't going to be allowed to compete at that meet because the declaration hadn't happened within the required period of time. And from the outside looking in, I was like, well, isn't that a problem that could have been solved like several months ago?
A year ago.
You would have known.
Could have been
so what happened? Okay,
so I'll give you like a short little variation of it. So when I applied, World Aquatics, made their new rule out of nowhere. But I missed that gap by a month, like a little less than a month. And I would have been okay to compete in the Olympics. Right. But I wouldn't be like technically a US athlete at the trials.
Got it.
So when I applied, we spoke with everybody and they said if it came down to it and they got the decision, they would go like day by day, and they'd give me the chance. So before this ruling, World Aquatics decided to take, or like CAS, it wasn't World Aquatics and CAS, right? You have to go to the whatever that is, their court.
Yeah.
They took 9.5 months to make a decision, and they let the decision up to the US, just whether or not I could swim or not. And the US went back on their word and said no. So, but I was already there, so I was going to refute it anyway, just give it a shot.
Right.
So the biggest problem was the 100 freestyle, because if I made the team on the 100 freestyle, I wouldn't be able to do the relay, and I would take a perfect spot. Because I would be
during the meet.
Exactly. So the relay is the first day, right? So I would missed it, and it would messed up the whole thing. And I totally am okay with that. I understand that's that fucks a lot of things up for a lot of people. And that's not what I wanted to do, I want to go there, I want to race.
Yeah.
But the thing that pissed me off was you took 10 months to tell me this. And you said you'd help me out and you'd be on my side. And then you took it back because you got a couple kids bitching because they didn't want to lose their spot. But I also begged them. It's like, hey, let me just swim the 50 freestyle then.
Right.
It takes no spots. Has nothing to do with it. But,
Don't say 50s to USA Swimming.
Yeah,
They hate the 50s.
Like, good Lord.
I think that thing's backwards, dude. And my take on this is, so Trinidad football soccer team, we're always trying to make the World Cup, and we always try to get people who have a grandparent born in Wales, uncle born in Italy, and grandparents who's born in Trinidad and they live in England, and we bring them down. They compete for Trinidad, and in Trinidad, we always do our best to try and get them to be able to compete for us as fast as possible. We work with the governing body. We push, and and by some miracle, 24 hours, it gets approved. And because the governing body of Trinidad tries to put the best team forward for that country that has the best athletes are there, the best soccer players that are legally allowed within the rules, absolutely, but who can win and do well for our country. So it's almost like I feel like the national body should do everything to put the best athletes forward to represent the country. But
you'd expect, but politics in face.
Man.
But luckily for me, that old regime on USA Swimming.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
So, but now they've been very, I think they're all a little apprehensive, of course, because what my background and everything like that. But Greg's been very fair. He's been very helpful, and everybody on the staff has been very accommodating for me now that I'm there. And so I can't blame people for past problems on somebody else. It's not fair. So I do respect them, and I'm very excited to represent the States. This has always been a dream. It's always like kind of come through.
Yeah.
But it sucks how sometimes you get played as a pawn, in a political kind of thing. But I also put myself there, so I'm not like totally surprised. I'm not like woe me type of shit. I get it. I definitely understand how the game is being played.
I think the difference is also you've chosen to swim for the US. Like, you had options, and you've made a choice to represent this country. That flag, you chose for that flag to fly when you win that world championship. That's you could have a different flag, but you wanted the US, and I think that's powerful, and that's damn right you're patriotic if I ever heard of one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
John's got to drop. See you, John. Thanks, man.
Yep. Hey, nice chatting, man. Good luck in Singapore.
Likewise.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah. So let's talk about Worlds then. What's it going to take to win?
Oh goodness, I have no idea. I think it's going to be 21-3. I think it's going to be on the podium, like in and around 21-3 or lower.
Yep.
I think that's there.
Yeah.
Ben Proud, most consistent fucker I know. He's always there. And then you got Cam. He's very consistent now too. And he's worked on the start. He's kicking ass. I expect him to be down there. Then you got Jack Alexi now.
Yeah.
He's killing it. I hope he just continues to ride that wave. So I think that's where somewhere 21-3. I think we'll be up there.
Okay. Luke, how close do you think you can get to that with your time in Masters Worlds? So Luke's going to Masters Worlds. It's the same
It's
pool,
right
right,
after,
Luke?
right?
Yeah.
Sean will be there.
Hey, it's 3 meters deep. I'm using that at my advantage.
All right, man. Hey, we got a few rapid fire. I'm going to let you go.
Okay, go for it.
What's the hardest race in swimming?
Oh, in what sense of hard?
Exactly. Good question.
And if you're talking about like pure pain, I mean, it's going to have to be like 2 breast, 2 back. I think those are tough because it's like in between being like sprinting and not, and breaststroke is all power, and then backstroke's like all legs. Hardest technically, I don't know, being biased, 50 free, there's really no room for mistakes. You got to be up and get going like that. Or you can go in the sense of depth of field. I think 100 freestyle right now, at least on the men's side, is fast.
Sure.
Everybody's going 47 low. Now people, like half of them are going 46.
Yeah.
I used to be number 1 at 47.8. That's light years away. Like, it's a whole other world. So there's a couple ways to answer that.
Olympic gold or world record?
Oh, Olympic gold for sure. It's just to win, times regardless.
Back in the bowl school days, which of that foursome of Schooling, Murph, Caleb, you, who did you think was going to have the greatest career success of that group?
I think they all did. In my opinion, they cultivated like such a good program. Even if like Caleb wasn't with us all the time, just like being around, and there was potential for all of us to be fucking great. There wasn't like one's gonna be better. It's just more, like I think Joseph cracking that 100 fly, beating everybody by a second is just as high up there. Like when you can do it and when you need to execute, and he just fucking smashed it.
Crazy.
Is just as great as Caleb winning. Like that amount of pressure. It's like different pressures, right? And then you got Murphy. Backstroke in the U.S. is probably the hardest thing to be compared to.
Yeah.
And he's up there, and he's consistently up there. So I don't know. I think they all have done fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty unbelievable group,
right?
I mean, not to be replicated. I don't know.
I'm waiting. All from the same school, all from Florida. It's tough.
Have you ever seen another athlete who has as good of a post-race, signal sign-off celebration as you do with the
finger
flip off? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'm pretty unique in that sense.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. I really don't. It's weird because I don't pay attention to it, right? Because being an athlete, and I can't really attest to any other people, but like for me and how I look at it, yes, I swim, but I could care less about sports. I enjoy playing sports, but the thing of idealizing others and their lives is, I don't know, maybe because I am an athlete and that's who I want to be. Yeah. It's tough. So I don't like gawk at other people's things and what they do.
You talked earlier about that Bulls set of the 400s, but talk about maybe a set from sprinting era. What's the hardest thing that you've ever done?
A hardest thing is doing Coley Stickles lactate threshold sets. That man would make you go from heavy resistance all out into sprinting like back end 50s or like straight up 50s on repeat into running dives. Like he made you do 6 different things all out all at once, and then you get a couple minutes rest and then do it again. And that man would talk about, if you need to get in shape, if you ever need to get in shape, that guy will get you in shape for sure.
All right, Luke, you need some Coley Stickle sets for your
did some this morning. Do it again.
Yeah. What's a place in the world that swimming hasn't taken you that you know that you need to get to?
In the sense, like that
you just want to go visit. Yeah,
go visit and
spend some time in the culture. Yeah.
I want to go to like the Nordic countries. I want to go up like into Sweden, go into Norway, and like kind of do all that. I haven't touched that at all. I think that's in my mind. It's very beautiful. I don't know. I just want to go visit that. I think that would be cool. I don't know what's out there, but if an opportunity arises, I would love to go out there.
There's a good meet in Bergen. Yeah. Dylan and Chalmers, they all went to Bergen a couple of months ago. You race that next year.
That was there.
Yeah, in Norway.
Nice.
Oh, sick. Yeah, Bergen's a little hub up there. They got 2 of the best triathletes in the world are from Bergen.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. Two guys killing it. What's the best race you've ever seen live?
Best race ever seen live. I think I think it's got to be Joseph's 100 fly being there. Okay. One, because I know him, and I know what he's like gone through, and fuck, seeing him come off the wall and just like keep fucking going.
Yeah,
It was look so exhilarating. You know,
He dominated that race.
smoked them.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
You know, and like and everything that was riding on it too.
Yeah.
Like that's what we were going to talk about earlier.
Right.
You know, you got this chance to do the hardest thing, right?
Yeah.
He took it and he did it
Yeah.
when he needed to do it. You know, I think that's the best part about being an athlete. When you get those opportunities and you can do it and you can capitalize on it, there's nothing better. There's no other better feeling. It's hard to replicate.
Are you guys still friends? Are you going to see him in Singapore?
To tell you the truth, yes, we're friends. Do we communicate as much as we should? Probably not.
Yeah. Happens.
But
You know what?
completely honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right. Life's chapters that way.
You know, exactly. Life kind of
Yeah.
things happen.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know,
for sure.
if I need to call him when I'm over there and say what's up, I guarantee you he'll pick up, and we'll go hang out.
All right. So if a coach gets in the water, maybe that's your social outing now. But amongst these 1,800 yards, how much social kick are we doing nowadays?
I think it's social like every wall. We're talking, hanging out, shooting shit, and do a little race, and then stop. And it's very like it's focused when it needs to be focused,
Yeah.
and then the rest is what's up?
Yeah.
What do you got going on today?
Yeah.
What are your problems? You know, like what's on your mind?
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah, dude. Well, hey man, this has been fun, and it's a true pleasure. I was thinking at the beginning of our conversation about how, you know, like for someone who's had a career like you have, watching the journey, I've wanted to have this conversation for a long time just to get to know that guy. Like, what's going on with that guy? You know, thanks for sharing some time, and we'll be rooting for you, bud. You're welcome back anytime. And
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Hopefully our paths cross in person.
Yeah.
You know, Luke will miss you in Singapore, but just the dates won't align. But yeah, at some point down the road, we'll. I'm down for a steak and vodka if we could do.
Yeah,
one of those, so
exactly. Right.
Cool. yeah.
We'll definitely
Right on.
reconvene at some point in our future.
Hell yeah! All right. Well, that's it for this episode of Social Kick. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Hey everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this episode of Social Kick and you'd like to see more, subscribe to the channel. And we love talking swimming. We'd love to talk about swimming with you. So leave us a comment and we'll see you next time.